Chapter 4, text 2. Tesham Hare Doshena Shamikita Tejasan Lochati Ralo Asit Penam Iva Mardanam Tesham Hare Doshena Shamikita Tejasan Lochati Bhavasi Penam Mardanam Tesham Hare Doshena Shamikita Tejasan Lochati Bhavasi Penam Eshamare Goshena Shmukitachitasam Lochitira Asi Penamaru
Teshamarayana doshena Shami kritatasam Nimlochati Ravavasid Vainunam Ivavardhanam
Tesham Hare doshena Vishamrikita chetasam Nimlochati Ravavasi Venunamiva Mardanam.
Tesham Hare doshena Vishami Krita Chetasam Nimlo Chatiravhavasid Venunamiva Vardhanam.
Te samare adoshena Dishami krita chetasam Nimlochatira vavasid Venunamiva mardanam.
Desham Hare doshena Vishamikrita chetasam Namlochati Ravavasid Venunam Ivamardanam.
Right?
Teshamarena doshena Vishamrikta chitasam Nimlokati ravasid
Vasti
Venam eva mardanam.
Enam Visham of them. Maria of intoxication. Vishana by the faults. Vishamakita became unbalanced. Chaitanya of those of whom the mind no Chiti Ava Asi takes place. Being on of the bamboos, Eva as Mayan destruction. Translation. Perfection, destruction. So also the senses of interaction of classification. All things and destruction took place. When there is need of fire in the forest, by the will of the Supreme, it takes place due to friction among the bamboos. Similarly, the descendants of Yadu were all destroyed by the will of the Lord by the process of self-destruction. Just as there is no possibility of a fire occurring deep in the forest due to human effort, so also there is no power in the universe which could vanquish the descendants of Yadu who were protected by the Lord. The Lord wanted them to be so destroyed, and thus they obeyed his order, as indicated by the word Anugata. Can we read the purport? I didn't say purport. Okay. So the friction of bamboo means wind. Wind blows and the bamboos, they touch each other. And if it's dry, it's warm, then they catch fire. That's how, or that's the way in the forest. In southwest of the USA, we get a lot of forest fires. And I think some of them are caused by the lightning. Lightning hits some, strikes something like bamboo or piece of leaves or things, and then they catch fire. The idea is, it's not necessarily that this is by human arrangement. This is above, beyond human arrangement. So similarly, the Mosul Leela, the destruction of Lord Krishna's family, the Arjans, was not caused by any ordinary human event. It was something extraordinary. It was divine. The Lord intervened because he wanted to take them with him. And he had many reasons. When the Lord does something, it's not just one reason is fulfilled, but there are many things. So all of them got dispatched to their next destination where they were supposed to be. Whether they were supposed to be with Krishna or back in the heavenly planets or back in Vaikuntha, or some of them may not have gone to any of those planets in the place, all by the arrangement of Krishna. Daivine Trena. Daivi means godly, but it can also mean the demigod. So it can be under the, because the demigods are working under Daivine Trena also, under the direction of God, Supreme Being. Then someone may say, well, if it's all happened by God, why, if everything's under the control of God, why should I try to do something? If it's going to happen, it'll happen. I won't make any effort. No, that's not how God controls everything. He allows the living entities to have free will. But he also tells them what they should do. Either he tells them in person, as for example, like when he came, he spoke on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He spoke to so many people. Or he speaks in another way, like the Vyasadeva is the literary incarnation of the Lord, appearing to put the instructions of the Lord in writing for the people of Kali Yuga. People of Kali Yuga can't remember what they heard a few minutes ago. So they need to have things written down. And we're also like that. Prabhupada told us, write things down. Remember to write it down. So we write things down that we want to remember. Like if we want to learn verses, we write them down. Shlokas, practice learning them. If we have some important duties to do for Krishna, we should write them down. Practical. It's like if you have an important combination to a lock or to some room that's very important, write down the combination. So don't depend on our defective memories. Can we go back to the yeah. Okay, due to the false intoxication. Intoxication is known for disturbing the mind, making it unbalanced. That's why they have such stringent laws against driving under the influence of intoxication. Because no matter how one may be a good person, he may be a good driver, and so many things, but when he's under the influence of intoxication, he loses his ability to act properly. It's very dangerous for himself and others. So therefore, why is intoxication, why is it going on? Because persons who are in the modes of ignorance and passion, they like it. They're interested in it because it gives them some kind of feeling of happiness. Persons in modes of ignorance and passion, they like intoxication. It helps them forget their miseries. They say, drown your miseries. Or it makes them feel kind of frivolous and happy without any inhibitions. They like that. The other sex also likes that. They encourage each other, take some intoxication. So they'll give up their sense of decency and what is right and what is wrong. And they'll feel more inclined to do whatever they feel like, whether it's right or wrong. So it causes many problems. But still they allow it. And they encourage it. Even the state makes profit on it and get taxes. So they're also buying into the intoxication business. It should, in the Vedic system, intoxication is not allowed except under certain circumstances. There are certain sacrifices to perform. Kshatriyas may indulge. This was such a sacrifice. But the fault of intoxication is so detrimental that you see what happens. In this case, even though it was a yajna, it was in a holy place, time was auspicious, so many things, Brahmins were there, so everything got destroyed. But we should learn from that. We should not be in favor of letting people choose if they want to do things like intoxication. And somebody say, why not? They're living beings, they should have the choice. Why should you take away their choice? Well, actually, the choice is not taken away. They can do it, but then they pay the consequences. So the consequences are presented to everyone in society. If you take intoxication, you may do so, but you'll pay the consequences. And there's some penalties. They have to pay some fines or have to spend some time incarcerated. Now, if someone gets a higher taste, then he loses his taste for things like that. And amazingly enough, Krishna consciousness gives such a taste. That's why people who struggle with being addicted to intoxicants have such a hard time. But when they take to chanting Hare Krishna, it's much easier. Prabhupada used to say how the local leaders in government of Laguna Beach, the city on the beach next to Los Angeles, a lot of hippies were living there. Hippies used to go there. It was like a mecca. They'd go there and take intoxicants. And so the government spent lots of money, millions of dollars, trying to figure out some way to get young people not to take intoxication. Couldn't do it. Unsuccessful. But then the Hare Krishna temple opened there, Laguna Beach, and very soon, many young people gave up the intoxicant because they got a higher taste. The intoxication that one gets from chanting Hare Krishna or performing devotional service is more pleasing than the intoxication of liquor or drugs. Prabhupada told that to Allen Ginsberg and all the others. There's no need for intoxication in order to get spiritual realization or to get ecstasy. It doesn't come from that. It comes from Krishna. Krishna is the source of all pleasure. He's the reservoir of pleasure. Rama, Padayanaso. That's one of the names of Krishna, who gives pleasure. So if one wants pleasure, he doesn't have to take intoxication. In fact, it's detrimental for his advancement in spiritual life. But people are so stressed, so much agitated, stressed, depressed, all these different things that they look for some relief. And so they're happy when they reach 21, or they're happy when it reaches Friday, they can go and spend their whole paycheck and become intoxicated. And then they think that was nice because I forgot my miseries and I slept a lot. People who take a lot of intoxication, they're generally inclined to sleep a lot also. So sleeping and intoxication go well together. But not good for society. So society should inform the people and train them. This is not good. We're not going to encourage this. Still, people may do it of their own, but then they pay it, as we said. And the Vedas it says that humans are generally inclined towards intoxication and meat eating and illicit sex. They have these inclinations, but they shouldn't be encouraged. Therefore, they're restricted in most sensible countries. It's restricted, some more than others. Some realize, for example, some Arabic countries, if you go there and you get caught with some illegal drugs, you can be given the death penalty. Even if you're not from that country. They tell you in the airplanes, I've seen it. Says, take note. Even if we're flying into this country, even if you're a resident, a citizen of another country, you can be given the death penalty if you're found carrying drugs. Let you know. So that means so there's much less intoxication there. It's a deterrent. When you give punishment for things, it deters people from doing it. And that's not the only, that's not maybe the finest deterrent. The best deterrent is to give transcendental knowledge. But the problem is some people are so dull that they can't appreciate transcendental knowledge. But it's still, that would be the best deterrent, is to educate people why it's not good, what the effects are, and give them something better. They create a society where everyone's mad after sense gratification. When you go to the movies, what do you see? Always drinking. So they go to the movies, they see a beautiful woman, good-looking man, they're drinking. So they think, I want to drink. I want to be a beautiful woman like that. I want to have a handsome man like that. So I'll drink. And they advertise in the billboards. If you want to have this nice lady next to you, like they do in the post in the billboard, you have to drink certain type of alcohol. So this type of confusion is going on. If it's not good, why is it being encouraged to do it in the advertising industry? Why is the government doing that? Why do they allow that? Because they're making some money off it. And all the members of the government that make the laws, they also like intoxication. So they're implicated. So therefore you can't expect good government unless you have a very good understanding of what is right, what is good, what is not good. But how will they be able to lead properly? If they're drunkards and they're addicted to intoxicants, how will they be able to lead the society correctly? Therefore, at least the Brahmins, must not be addicted to these things. Kshatriyas are allowed to indulge at certain times, as we mentioned, auspicious occasions. And they're not supposed to take too much. They allow that in some religions also, right? They have some drinking of, they say wine was allowed. Grape juice and wine are same thing, but one's a little fermented. So it's allowed in Vedic culture also for Kshatriyas. And gambling's allowed. But look what happens. Even though it's allowed, Kshatriya can't refuse a challenge. That was ostensibly the reason why Yudhishthira Maharaj had to accept the challenge. And the challenge was unfair because it was known that Yudhishthira was a poor player. And why would you want to challenge someone who's a poor player? It's known that he was not good at the art of gambling. And the whole idea was to take away his kingdom by gambling. And Shakuni, the uncle of the Kuru dynasty, he was the son of Subal, and his sister was Subalini. She married Dhritarashtra, Gandhari. So she's his sister, Shakuni. Shakuni is her older brother. And Shakuni was a long story, but he was very angry with the Kuru dynasty, especially Bhishma. Bhishma primarily was the one who arranged for Gandhari to marry Dhritarashtra, who was blind. So Shakuni couldn't accept it. His sister was one of the most beautiful women in the world, very good qualifications, everything. And then she ends up putting a cloth around her eyes for her whole life. She becomes blind because of Bhishma. So he was angry. He wanted to finish the whole dynasty. He wanted to take over himself. So he was a mystical gambler. He used the bones of his father to make his dice. And he used to be able to control those dice. They would come up with whatever number he wanted. He just had to say the number or think of it, and the dice would roll it. So even still, and then he put a stipulation that actually Duryodhana would be the gambler for the side, but he wouldn't toss the dice. The dice would be tossed by Shakuni. And Yudhishthira agreed to that, even though that's not fair. He should have thought, then if Shakuni can throw the dice for Duryodhana, then Krishna can throw the dice for me. That would have been approved by Krishna. He said that I could have given that option. He didn't think of that. Anyway, he accepted the challenge because otherwise he would taunt him. Say, well, if you're afraid, Yudhishthira Maharaj, then certainly you don't have to play. We thought that the Kshatriyas of the Kuru line were quite chivalrous and brave, not afraid of challenges. But if you're afraid, so how can you live like that? So he said, play. He lost everything. So gambling is dangerous. Intoxication is dangerous. We see what happens in gambling. Gamblers Anonymous means they have an organization for people who become addicted to gambling. They can't stop. They'll gamble everything away. And that's what happened to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He gambled his brothers away. He gambled his wife away. He gambled himself away. He was a slave. So these things are dangerous, not good for society. So gambling should not be allowed, except under certain circumstances. And we see that's even risky. And meat eating shouldn't be allowed either, except under certain circumstances. Or in a sacrifice, but that's not for eating. When they have sacrifices, they sometimes, in the Vedic tradition, they sacrifice a horse or some other animal in the fire. But The outcome is that the mantras are chanted by Brahmins who are expert, and therefore the animal comes out again alive, either in a human form or an animal form. So he's not there putting the animal in for a big feast. No, it's to prove the efficacy of the mantras. So, Ashvametam Gvalambam Sanyasa Palapaichakam Devrena Satopatim Kalo Panchavivarjit. But in Kali Yuga, 5 things are forbidden. Ashvametam. First one is sacrifice of a horse sacrifice. No performance of Ashvamedha sacrifice will work in Kali Yuga because Brahmins are not there who can chant the mantras. And it's a bad age. Not meant for that. Ashvamedam Gavalam, or the sacrifice of a cow. Alambam, sannyasa, taking the order of sannyas. And Prabhupada clarified that because Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, and many of his followers took sannyas, it's Kali Yuga. But the explanation is, unless one is very serious, sannyas is not recommended for people in general because it's very difficult to follow such strict regulations. No intimate association with women for one's whole life. They do that. They try in other religions. They still have that. One takes vows of celibacy for life in the Catholic religion. And Prabhupada said that any situation or any place that there is encouraged to practice celibacy is good. That's a good system because celibacy is very valuable for making spiritual progress and for healthy society, good progeny, all so many reasons. So sannyas then is allowed for the Vaishnavas, not for the Mayavadis. That's not a good use for sannyas. They shouldn't take sannyas because they don't know what it's for. Actually, sannyas is for reducing one's addiction to sense gratification, and instead he dedicates his life, his mind, his body, his mind, and his words in the service of the Lord. Tridandi sannyas, not ekadandi. Ekadandi means one rod, and the impersonalists take only one rod. They think they're one with the Supreme. But the Vaishnav sannyasis take 3, representing that they engage the minds, the words, and their bodies in the service of the Lord. That sannyas is allowed under certain circumstances. Then, sannyasa palapaitakam devarena satopatim. One cannot use the devarena. You cannot have a brother impregnate a man's wife. In other words, in the previous ages, if a man was unable to beget a child by his wedded wife or wives, he was allowed to ask a brother of his to impregnate his wife, and then the child would be his. That was allowed. we see that happens a lot in Mahabharata. A lot of circumstances like that. For example, the brothers of Bhishma, Vichitravirya, he was not able to get it. He died before his queens were impregnated. And his elder brother also died before his wives were. So in that case, in order to carry on the dynasty, it was decided that Vyasadeva would be requested to impregnate. And he did, and he was an older brother of the same family. It was a secret. Satyavati, it wasn't known. But before she was married, she was impregnated by Parasara Muni. And the son was Vyasadeva. But that was kept quiet because she wasn't married. So, but in Kali Yuga it's not allowed. So Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. Oceana, and where's there? Kali Yuga, we have unlimited intoxication, practically, unlimited meat eating, unlimited illicit sex, unlimited everything. All faults. Unlimited lying, unlimited. This goes on and on. There's no end. So what to do? Kaler doshani de rajan yasti eka mahanyan kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param braja. There's one good quality in Kali Yuga, and that's that if one chants the name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, all the bad effects will be overcome and he'll reach perfection. One who chants, he'll get perfection. He can actually become pure devotee in one lifetime in Kali Yuga, in this bad age. So in one sense, it's the worst age, in another sense, it's the best age. Because the lifespan is very short, only 100 years. In previous ages, it spans 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or 100,000 years in such a yuga. It's a long time to live. But Kali Yuga, short life, and you just have to chant Hare Krishna. You don't have to perform a long-term meditation like in such yuga, 60,000 years. You have to sit in meditation. That's the process. Dhyana, process of Kali Yuga. Excuse me. Such yuga is meditation. And then the next stage process in Krishna Yuga is performing great sacrifice. Kings would bring in gold, have to mass so much gold for this sacrifice. If you didn't have gold, you couldn't do it. And you had to have gold and all the other things. King had to be practically like Kubera. They had to have that much wealth. Now, they could do that in that age, like Maruta. King Maruta was famous. He held the greatest Ashwamedha sacrifice that was allowed in the state. Even they used the leftover gold from Maruta's sacrifice for the sacrifice of Yudhishthira when he wanted to perform righteous deeds. And then the Dwapara Yuga sacrifice is deity worship, very strict. Like in South India, if you go there, you see the deity worship is executed very strictly. They follow so many rules and regulations. But we can't follow. No one's interested in deity worship in Kali Yuga. Temples are closing, churches are closing, because people are not interested in going to church or a temple for getting things. Because why do they go to the church or the temple? Because they ask for, give us bread, give us food, give us nice cars, give us pass my exam. So they have all these things by just business. And they're cheating businesses and false advertising. They have their ways of getting these things. And so why do they need to go to church or temple? Just get it through their cheating process and their own cheating process. We see people are not interested in deity worship. They call it idol worship. In fact, it's outlawed. It should be outlawed in one sense. As they say in their scripture, one should, idolatry is not allowed. But that means to make an image of something and try to worship that, that's not allowed. That's good. Why should you worship the animal? Someone makes an animal and then they worship that statue, or a man, or a woman. So that is forbidden. But the form of God, a bona fide form of God, is not forbidden. It's wonderful. It brings good results, not bad results. But they don't know that God has form. So they think that all forms, all statues are bad. But statue of Krishna is never bad. Thank you very much.